Well, hello. Today I'm going to read you a story about me. The following story is dedicated to my grandchildren, but was really written for my youngest grandchild, Maureen McNamara. I wanted my little Mo to know what I was like as a little girl, and also what her mommy was like. So, my dear grandchildren, enjoy this story and never, never forget me. With all my love, GiGi. God bless you all and keep you safe. You children have given me the greatest memories. You are always in my heart. There's a picture on this page of me with my red suede vest. It's my favorite, very favorite thing to wear. I was 3 years old. I can still feel how soft it was. So I've titled this story, My Red Vest, to my darling Maureen. When I was a little girl, I had a red vest. I must have been about 3 years old. Pretty young to remember that long ago, but I know just what it felt like and looked like when I wore it. It was so soft. I can remember rubbing my hands over it. It was made of suede. I just loved that red vest. Thinking about my red vest, I remembered some different stories I wanted to tell you. There are so many memories from my childhood that I want to share with you. I know it's hard to understand now, but many years ago, I was just a little girl like you are now. Your brothers and sisters can tell you stories about me also, but I wanted you to get to know what I was like. So, my dear Maureen, here we go. I was born October 20th, 1941, and my parents were Tom and Dorothy Flannery. My sister Carol was 4 years older than me. She was a good sister and looked after me. We did not fuss a lot because I was about 11 years old, until I was about 11 years old, and then I was a bit of a nuisance. In other words, I bugged her, and she did not like that at all. She was a teenager, and I was just a little squirt. I like to think that I won most of those battles. As my sister and I grew older, married, and had our own children, we grew close. Her children were like mine, and my children were like hers. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's go back to when I was just a sweet little girl. I liked my toys and games. My dollies were my favorite. In the summer, my friends would join me and we would play in our garage. We liked to play house and school. I was always the teacher as it was my garage. Oh, and sometimes we played office. Paper dolls and were other favorites of mine, and the best part was cutting out the clothes. I also liked to play different games outside like tag, hide and seek, Mother May I, and of course, cowboys and Indians. Our driveway was concrete and perfect for roller skating. There were no bumps in the drive. I enjoyed roller skating with my friends just up the street, and about 2 blocks away was the Broad Ripple Park. Back then it had a swimming pool that was the largest freshwater pool in the country. Sadly, it was filled in back in the 60s. I believe that a small swimming pool was built there, but it just wasn't the same. In the 40s and 50s, the baby pool was used to ice skate on in the winter. My dad and sister were good at this, but I always ended up on my bottom, so I stuck to roller skating. In the wintertime, we would play in our large basement. I could skate down there. Some of my other favorite toys were a large wooden colonial dollhouse and dolly bunk beds that my Grandpa Helmer built just for me. They were fabulous. I also enjoyed coloring books and drawing. I would sit on the floor in the living room and color for hours. Reading was fun also. I almost always had a book to read, and I still enjoy reading. I usually read at least 3 books a week. We did not have a TV until I was 10. Until then, Dad and I would listen to the shows on the radio. Some of our favorite shows were Boston Blackie, Amos and Andy, Suspense. That was a scary one. Fibber McGee and Molly were funny. Every Saturday morning I would listen to Let's Pretend. My sister liked that one also. There were different stories on every week, lots of fairy tales. Grandpa Helmer was a carpenter and a contractor. He built many, many houses, churches, and buildings. He lived on the west side of Indianapolis and built a movie theater named the Daisy. Since I was with Grandpa and Grandma so much, I was his movie buddy. We would go to the Daisy at least 4 times a week, and it was always free because he built it and everyone treated him special. At the movies, we watched a lot of cowboy movies. Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, Hopalong Cassidy, Sky King, The Lone Ranger, and Tonto, and many, many more. Those were great to watch. I had a Sky King ring that was a fake plastic bullet. You could open it, and I put secret messages inside. It was very cool. There are many stories about me that I passed on to my children. Uncle Sean, Uncle Tim, and your mommy can tell you some of these stories. Make sure they tell you about when I got spanked with my Roy Rogers belt. Uncle Tim is a good one to tell you these stories. Also, they can tell you a lot of stories about Grandma Helmer. When we lived on Narwaldo, Grandma lived across the street with Aunt Mary and Uncle Don. Grandma liked to come over and sit on our porch. She liked to check out the neighborhood. I wish I could see you more often and watch you grow up. Right now you are only 18 months old and such a cutie pie. Your siblings are so good to you. Also your cousins, Fiona and Delaney, enjoy being with you. They all treat you like a little princess. Little Mo, even though I am 71 years old, I am young at heart and act like a little girl. I like watching all of my grandchildren play. I think Delaney and Madeline are the most like me when I was little, especially Maddie and her dollies, and Delaney and her Betty drama. Ask Delaney what that means. When I first moved into my apartment, I purchased a baby doll and a little cradle. I bought a few clothes and baby bottles for the dolly, and I named her Baby Rose. When Maddie first saw her, she started calling the baby doll Baby Rosie. So that's what we all called her. The blankets for Baby Rosie belonged to your mommy when she was a little girl. Recently, you were here for a visit, and when you walked in, you immediately went to see Baby Rosie. That's when I decided that the next time I came to visit you, I would bring Baby Rosie and all of her things for you and Maddie to keep. Maddie can teach you everything you need to know about dollies. Maureen, I have told you a few things about me when I was a little girl. Now I'm going to tell you some things about your mommy, Erin Bridget McNamara. She was born on September 29, 1971. Her daddy and I were thrilled to have a baby girl. We had 2 wonderful sons, and now we had a beautiful baby girl. God blessed us. Your mommy had just a little peach fuzz on her head. All my babies were baldies. I used to love kissing her fuzzy little head. When she was almost 2, she still had very little hair, and my sister gave her one of her old wigs. She wore it everywhere. I think it kept her head warm. Just like me, she loved dollies and all the fun toys and games that I had liked growing up. She played house, ice skated, played paper dolls, and many other games. Erin also liked to read. She took ballet and tap dancing lessons. When she was a little older, she took gymnastics. At grade school, she played kickball. She really liked that. Erin was a very sweet little girl. I hardly ever had to scold her. What a good girl she is still today. The following are some of my favorite memories of your mommy when she was little. Her brother Sean called her Peaches, riding her big wheel up and down our driveway with her ponytail flying in the breeze. Sitting with Grandma Dot in the big chair, working on her spelling or watching Little House on the Prairie. All 3 of my children loved beef jerky. One time Uncle Sean was missing his beef jerky, and we asked Erin if she knew where it was. Erin was about 5 years old. She said she thinks that Mittens, our cat, had eaten it. We finally got her to confess it was her that took the jerky. My mom, Grandma Dot, calling Aaron Little Peanut, going to the Riviera Club to swim in the summer, a great pool, calling my mom Candy Grandma and being assured of Gram's loading up on gum for her. A friend of mine went with me when Aaron was 2 for a picture. Every time the photographer set her on the table, she cried. So we walked her around the store and she spotted a toy that excited her. It was a green plastic caterpillar with wheels that she could sit on and move around. I had to purchase the caterpillar to get her to sit on the table for the picture. So we came home with the picture and the caterpillar. Her brother Tim called her Cookie Monster because she would snitch cookies from the kitchen and hide them behind her bed to eat them. Most of them were vanilla wafers. One Christmas when Erin was 3, my mom gave her a life-size baby doll that could wear actual baby clothes. While shopping, Erin carried her baby around and some of the customers thought it was a real baby and were very concerned, especially when Erin kept dropping the baby. One of my favorite memories was when Erin was 8 and was playing outside with her neighbor kids. Uncle Tim and his friend Bobby were there also. A boy that went to Christ the King rode his bike over and began to tease Erin and made her cry. Grandma Dot was watching from inside and she came outside. When she saw what was going on, she told the boy, Andy S. She told him to get home or she was going to call the police and he better never tease her again. She told him her husband had been a policeman and she knew lots of the police. He took off fast and then he was crying. Kids need to know that you don't mess with grandmas. My sister's son John started calling her your mommy, the boss. Erin was pretty quiet, but when she got together with her brothers and cousins, she would be a little bossy. Everyone usually gave in to her as she was the youngest in the group, but John still calls your mom the boss. When Erin was in the 1st grade, she was picked to be the Christmas angel, standing over the nativity at the children's Christmas mass. I took a white sheet, a roll of silver Christmas sparkle, and lots of safety pins and put it together for her costume. Your mommy did not like the costume at first, but everyone raved about it and she decided it was okay. The nuns and several of the mothers said it was just the best angel costume ever. Well, here is my favorite memory. When Erin was a little baby, her daddy and I went on a weekend trip. We bought a stuffed doggie for her, and when she was older and talked, she named him Grover. She slept with Grover every night and always laid on him and rubbed his fur. By the time she was 5, Grover's fur was just about gone. I had to do surgery on Grover every now and then. I'm pretty sure your mommy still has Grover someplace packed away carefully. Maureen, I have told you some things about me and your mommy when we were little girls. I had my red velvet vest that meant so much to me, and your mommy had Grover. The question is, what will your treasure be and remembered when you grow up? We all have special memories, and I know you will have some great ones. I like to think about my red vest, and your mommy may still think about Grover and how special he was. I hope you will grow up to be as good as your mommy. I'm very proud of her, and I believe she is a beautiful mother to you and your siblings. Little Maureen, God has blessed you with a wonderful mommy and daddy and brothers and sisters. Much love, my precious one, GiGi.